Yo, welcome back to the channel. This video today we're going to be going over the stamina warden for the Flames of Ambition patch. Now, so let's go ahead and dive into it. My max health is 19.9, my max stamina is 35.1, my stamina recovery unbuffed is 1.6, my weapon damage is 4.3 unbuffed, my weapon critical is 63.4, and my physical penetration is 4688. Now, I'm an orc, so keep that in mind. Your stats may look different if you're not an orc. But I have 64 points into stamina. The food I'm running is the lava foot soup and sultries, and the boon I'm running is the thief. So, if you still want to use dubious, you can. This is what your stats will look like without dubious, or with dubious. You'll have 23k max health, 33k maximum stamina, 1.3k stamina recovery. That's kind of funny. 23, yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Sorry, just noticed that. Now, of course, so with lava foot soup, if you want to see it again, 19.9, 35.1, 1.6. So that's kind of our food. Let's go over the champion points. Green tree. Passive wise, I use Gilded 50 into Gilded Fingers, 50 into Fortune's Favor, 15 to Wanderer here, 50 into Steadfast Enchantment. This is definitely one of those musts when it comes to the passives. What this does is that basically 100% reduced decay rate on your enchantments. So if you're on your bar in the middle of a fight and when it uncharges, you lag up there, this will never happen. You will never have to waste another soul gem on recharging a weapon. So now, Gilded Fingers just gives us more gold when we're doing our dailies, and just in general, when we're picking up gold, we'll get a little extra 10%. So like doing your daily craftings at max level, you used to get 4.6. Now if you have this, you'll get 5.1. That's basically it. This of course gives you more gold from treasure chests and safe boxes by 50%, so it's nice to have that as well, just for that little extra gold. Now, the ones that go on your bar, I use Treasure Hunter because it increases the quality of items we find in treasure chests. Master Gatherer because it reduces our harvesting time by 50%. Plentiful Harvest, which gives us 50% chance to get more resources from a node. And then lastly, I use Liquid Efficiency here. Whenever you use a potion or poison, you have a 10% chance to not consume it. So it's like a free potion. But it's only a 10% chance, but it's still worth having on your bar. Now, if you want to put something else here, like you don't think that 10% chance is even really worth having up there, by all means, go for it. I mean, there's a lot of things in this tree that you can do. This adds more food time. This one right here reduces repairing. This one increases your combat movement speed. This one increases your horses, improves your mastery with mounts, removing all mount stamina costs outside of combat, increase your mount speed. So definitely you could do any of those if you don't feel like this right here, or any of these other ones as beneficiary, just however you like. Retry, for passives, there's a lot of passives that you use. Defiance reduces the cost to break free. Tumbling reduces the cost of roll dodge because we don't really have shields, so we can't just shield up and kind of take it. We have to block, we have to roll dodge. So these are always nice to have. Hero's Vigor is one of those ones I think it's a must. It gives you more health. It's just awesome. It gives you that extra 1.1k max health. Hasty increase your movement speed when sprinting by 8% at full. Reduce the cost of sprint. And the stamina character, I rely on my stamina, but cost of stamina sprint. So these two are just nice for me. And then you have reduce the cost to block. Tireless Guardian. Increase the amount of damage you can block per stage. And then reduce the cost to bash. I don't bash a whole lot due to one of the skills that I use. But it is always nice to have a little bit extra there, just in case. Now, skills that I do put on my bar. I use Bloody Renewal, restores 300 stamina per kill. Well, it restores 1500 stamina every time we kill an enemy. Rejuvenation gives us 150 health, magic, and stamina recovery. Ironclad, which gives us 1.7k armor. Balanced Vitality, which gives us 1.4k max health. Now, these are the four I keep on my bar, but there are some interesting ones up here in the tree, like this one. This is a passive, but when you return to life as a resurrection, you get more resources back. I mean, you can't go wrong having that either. Or this one, decreased time it takes to resurrect an ally by 33%. So, if you want to do that as well, you could go with this one too. Like if you're the DPS that's designated to res, I mean, you can go with something like this. It'd make you make resing faster. So, now, for the DPS wise, passives, Precision grants us 640 critical chance. Tireless Discipline gives us 1,000 extra max stamina. Piercing gives us 1,400 offensive penetration. Battle Mastery gives us an extra 60% chance to apply martial status effect, which is like bleed, poison, things like that. Physical, poison, disease, and bleed damage. There you go. That's what the martial statuses are. Mighty gives us 100 extra weapon and spell damage to martial attacks. So this just kind of increases those a little bit. So the passives are nice. Now for the ones I put on my bar, the main three that I pretty much use the majority of the time is Deadly Aim, increase the damage done by our single target attacks by 10%. Thermometer, which increases our damage over time by 10%. Biting Aura, which increases your damage done with area effect attacks by 10%. I tend to keep those three on. The ones that I switch out is between Backstabber and Fighting Finesse. If I'm rolling with a tank that has Happy Feet, then this is usually the setup that I'm running. This is normally the setup I use when I'm running randoms, but if I'm running with a group of people, then I tend to swap this out for Backstabber. Because Fighting Finesse, it increases our critical damage and critical healing by 10%, no matter what. It's just there. Backstabber will increase our critical damage done by 3% per stage against the enemies you are flanking. So this gives us an extra 15% critical damage. But if you're not able to flank the enemy, if the boss is just no tank, just running around, you're not going to get any use out of this. So I use Fighting Finesse. Now, if I'm in a group where I know I can get the benefit from both of these, I tend to drop the Biting Aura. Because this is area effects, this affects Endless Hell, and this affects, I want to say this affects your beetles, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So, but I tend to drop this one and put both of these on my bar. So I'll run Backstabber, Fighting Finesse, Deadly Aim, and Thermometer. So, just me. I mean, if you don't really feel like using any of these in general, you can increase your flat stats with this, with Untamed Aggression, Endless Endurance for more max stamina. This one, when you deal direct damage, you heal for certain percentage of the damage done. And then you have this one, like when they die, with a status effect on them, they'll explode doing oblivion damage. So, just use what you like. These are the ones that I use the most. These are the ones where you get the most DPS out of. Can't go wrong with any combination of them. So, sets. The first set that I'm running is Vadashuran. I'm not running the perfected version. This is just a normal version. The perfected versions are better because I believe they give you critical damage off the top of my head. Or not critical damage, but crit. So, but this comes from the new trial, Vadashuran, or it's not really a trial. It's a solo arena like Maelstrom. At 160, it's not that complicated. It can be quite frustrating, but it is relatively easy to go in there and accomplish. So, but running a Dagger Nern with a poison damage enchant and a Mace Sharpened with absorb stamina enchant. You can run a dagger here with sharpened, or you can run a mace here with precise if you feel like you need more crit, but due to the one sets that I'm running, I'm just using a mace with sharpened. So it kind of helps give me that extra penetration. Now, what this does is we use Hidden Blade. That's our mace boundable, and it deals up 250% more damage to targets under 100% health when you are standing behind them. Restore 1.3k stamina if the target was below 50% health. So this helps us with our sustain in the end. So, especially when you're out soloing, this can kind of help come in handy there. Back bar, we're running the Maelstrom Bow infused with a weapon damage enchant. This comes in Maelstrom Arena on normal. What this does is increase the damage volley deals by 430 each tick. This bonus increases by 143 every time volley ticks, up to a maximum 8 times. This will increase your DPS tenfold. Well, not tenfold, but it'll at least add 2 to 3k to your DPS. So, it's Maelstrom Arena, normal. Go in there and get it. You don't have to farm for perfect it. It's not going to make that big of a difference at all. So, go in there and get it on normal. At least you'll have something going. So, now for the sets. The first 5-piece set that I'm running is Briarheart. It's Overland. It comes from Hrothgar. And we're running a helmet Divines with max stamina, shoulders Divines with max stamina, and boots Divines max stamina, legs Divines with max stamina, and waist Divines with max stamina. Now, we are not running a monster set with this setup because of the Verada Shrines and the Maelstrom Bow, essentially. Not really, the Maelstrom Bow isn't necessarily that big of a deal, but the Verada Shrines, yes. But this gives us weapon critical, max stamina, weapon critical, and when you deal critical damage, you increase your weapon damage by 435 for 10 seconds. While this effect is active, your critical strikes heal you for 337 health. Effect can occur once every 15 seconds. Now, if you don't have these, or for whatever reason you've run it so much that you're just not getting the mace and the dagger, because I understand. Maelstrom Arena, I've ran that hundreds of times on vet and normal, and I have never gotten a mace for the sword and board. So I get it. I've gotten everything multiple times, but I've never gotten a mace for the sword and board. So I get it. Sometimes things just won't drop for you. So if you don't want to take the time to farm these, or maybe you farmed it to the point where you're just sick of it, run Briarheart on your weapons and put on a monster set. Celine's, Slime Crawl, or One Piece Slime Crawl, One Piece Grundlewolf, Kragernax, Veldreth. You can use any of those if you want. So if you don't want to run these, use Briarheart, because having Briarheart on your front bar, when you bar swap to do your Maelstrom Bow bar, the effect won't drop off. So you'll keep that weapon damage. Because our next 5-piece set is Leviathan, and we want to keep this static at all times. We're running it all in the body, all divines, or not all in the body, but we're running Divine's body, Divine's chest with max stamina, and Divine gloves with max stamina. And then our jewelry is Leviathan with weapon damage enchants. This is basically the Mother Sorrow set for stamina users. This comes from Crypto Hearts. Crypto Hearts is a very easy dungeon to get into. This gives us max stamina, weapon crit, and more weapon critical. Now, Bloodthirsty and Infused would be better, or 3 Bloodthirsty, or 2 Bloodthirsty, 1 Infused, or however you want to set it up. But I would go with Robust, Bloodthirsty, or Infused. I wouldn't go any other thing for DPS wise. Now, all weapon damage enchant, of course. So that's what I was saying. So Leviathan, we want static at all times, so we keep our crit there. And Briarheart, we can put on our front bar and then rotate to our back bar, and we won't have a concern. Yes, we will lose the extra weapon critical from the 4-piece, but it's not that big of a deal because our weapon damage is going to stay. We want that 5-piece. We would lose more crit if we had Leviathan on our front bar and switched it to the back bar, because then we would lose that 634 weapon crit and the 1.4k weapon critical. So Briarheart on your front bar if you don't have Vacheron. Or you can get a bow and not even worry about the Maelstrom Bow in itself. So you can have Briarheart weapons and monster piece with Leviathan anywhere else. Now you can buy Briarheart jewelry, so you don't necessarily have to farm Crypto Hearts on vet to get the jewelry for the Leviathan. And you can just farm it for the body pieces and divines. So if anything, you can go infused on 1 or 2 of the big pieces if you want more resources. But we're sitting pretty good on resources at 35.1. So all divines. Now, skills. I was going to say something else, but decided against it. Skills, Shrouded Daggers. You fire a secret dagger from your sleeve that bounces up to 3 times to nearby enemies, dealing 7.5k physical damage per hit. If enemies hit or casting, they are interrupted, set off balance, and stunned for 3 seconds. You also gain Major Brutality, increasing your weapon damage by 20% for 20 seconds. This is why I don't have much in Bash. So, if for whatever reason this person is casting, I can just throw the dagger and they will be interrupted. So I don't have to bash them. I could just spammable, they're done. They're interrupted. So I don't have to bash. So that's kind of why I don't have so many points into the bash. Now, if you're not running this, you're not running Vacheron daggers, or if I'm even saying that right, you're using Cutting Dive here, or you're using the Flurry, the Morpha Flurry. What is it? I wouldn't use the one that heals you. I do the one that does more damage. Can't think of the name right now. Silly me. So you're not running that. You might want to put a little extra points into Bash, but you really don't have to. So, as you can see, bashing, it doesn't take up a whole lot. Let's see, at 100% stamina, I drop 5%, and it shoots right back up. So, it's not going to take that much. Subterranean Assault, stir a group of shock that attack after 3 seconds, dealing 13.7k poison damage to enemies in front of you. After the shot complete their attack, they burrow once again for 3 seconds and then resurface again, dealing 13.7k poison damage to enemies in front of you. This is a massive little area, as you can see, all the way to the edge. So there's like a person here, and there it goes there. So wonder why. Like, this is wonderful. It changes up the rotation a little bit, because now instead of having to do this every 2 abilities, you can do it every 4 abilities. Just kind of curious why they didn't do the magical one like that. It is kind of weird. Growing Swarm. Unleash a swarm of Fetcher Flies to relentlessly attack an enemy, cause them to bleed for 16.5 bleed damage over 10 seconds. The Fletcher Flies rip through the original enemy's flesh, afflicting them with minor vulnerability for the duration, increasing their damage taken by 5%. Enemies near the carrier take 1.8k bleed damage every 2 seconds for the duration. This is just nice. It applies to target with minor vulnerability, and it's a huge dot, especially buff. And when you're buffed and running with a group that has, you know, Illyrian, Spell Power Cure, Jotun, or just the group buff, the Dungeon Finder buff in general, and being fully buffed, I've seen this dot get up 21, 22k. Some higher than that. It just depends on the groups that you have within, what they're wearing within the 4-man content. Now in Trials, I've seen this dot get up to like a 26, 27k dot. So it's ridiculous. Barb Trap. Set a sharpened blade trap at your location, which takes 1.5 seconds to arm and lasts for 1 minute. When triggered, the trap deals 4.9k physical damage, an additional 19.2k physical damage over 18 seconds, and grants you minor force, increasing your critical damage by 10% for the duration. This is a nice dot as well. I mean, 19k, it's a huge dot. And it lasts for 18 seconds. So, but the main reason why we're using this is for minor force. We want that extra crit damage. So this is our way of getting it, is through this. Plus, it just being a good dot for a stamina user, it's worth using. Camo Hunter is just here for major savagery. It gives us minor berserk as well, when we deal crit damage from an enemy's flank, increase your damage done by 5%. Now, this is here for the fire skill passives as well. So, and with major savagery, this gives us major brutality. So we can get away with using trash bots. I DPS'd with trash bots here to test this out, and I'll go over that at the end. But yeah, you can get away without using weapon power pots now, so it works. Plus, it gives you a little extra damage from the fire skill passive, so it's worth having here. While Guardian, rouse a grizzly to fight by your side. The grizzly swipes at an enemy, dealing 3.3k physical damage, and sometimes swipes all enemies in front of it, dealing 13.2k physical damage and stunning them for 2 seconds. When summoned, you can activate Guardian Savagery for 75 ultimate, causing the grizzly to maul an enemy for 14.9 physical damage, deals 100% more damage to enemies below 25% health. I've seen that bear hit for upwards to 30k on a crit. It's stupid. So we're going to double bar this, because if you do not have it double barred, it will fall off just like a sorcerer's pet. You've got to have it double barred. Now, on our back bar, let me go ahead and put that there. Shoot an arrow coated in Berda, we're using poison injection. Shoot an arrow coated in Bandara poison at an enemy, dealing 4.3k poison damage and an additional 9.5 poison damage over 10 seconds. Deals up to 100% more damage to enemies under 50% health. Now, if you have trouble sustaining, you could take the morph of Soul Trap here and put it in place of poison injection. Yes, this is Magicka. It's not that big of a deal. This will be the only ability that we use that takes Magicka. And as you can see, the dot is relatively bigger as well. And I want to show this. This is the first morph of this. So, as you can see, it's 14.3. Now, you have Soul Splitting Trap, which will hit multiple enemies, but the damage drops from a single target. It goes to 9.5 physical damage to target, and any other nearby enemies over 10 seconds, the damage dealt is based on the highest offensive stats. So the damage will drop, but it will work more as an AoE. But Consuming Trap is 14.3 as well, and you restore health, magic, and stamina if the enemy dies while affected with this. So you fill an empty soul gem and heal for 3.3. You also restore 2k magicka and 5.9k stamina. This portion of this ability scales off your max health, magicka, and stamina. So if you're having trouble sustaining, you can put this on and use this as well. The damage, or you don't even have to morph it if you just really don't care. The damage is the same either way. If you want an AoE, you can go for this. The damage is going to be less, but it will hit more enemies. But this will give you easy resource management, and it does decent damage. It does more damage than, I don't know if it does more damage than poison injection or not, but they test about the same. So it's just really up to you on which one you want to use and which one you want to go with. But if you're having trouble sustaining with a rotation, by all means, swap this out for Soul Trap. It's not going to make that big of a difference. So it will help. It won't make that big of a difference in the damage, but it will make a huge difference in your resource management in general. So now we're using Arrow Barrage. Launch multiple arrows into the sky to rain down, dealing 1.9k physical damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second for 8 seconds after a 2-second delay. Endless Hell lasts for 14 seconds. I was normally using it. I've been using it for a while because I dropped Poison Injection and Soul Trap, and I just wasn't really using anything else. I would just throw Endless Hell out, rotate, and start. But using Poison Injection, using Soul Trap, they last for 10 seconds. This lasts for 10 seconds. So it just makes the rotation more static and easier to use. Because you can see when you use Poison Injection, you see that counter. So if you go Endless Hell into Poison Injection, you know that by the time Poison Injection hits about 2, it's going to be falling. Endless Hell or Arrow Barrage is going to fall off. So when that usually hits about 2, I want to rotate. I know I got to get ready to rotate again and get that off. Usually around 3, not 2, but 3. I want to start casting Endless Hell again. I keep saying Endless Hell. I want to cast Arrow Barrage before that, around the 2-second mark on the Poison Injection. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's just a way you can keep track. I know in the next patch they're releasing something that basically it times it for you. But for right now, for the next month or so, this right here can help you just kind of keep an eye on that. So you know when this gets to 3, you want to rotate because you want this to go off by 2 to keep it from falling off. So Bull Netch. Call a Bull Netch to your side, which restores 4.9k stamina to you over 25 seconds. Grants you major brutality and sorcery, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 20%. Every 5 seconds, the Netch removes 1 negative effect from you. So yeah, this is another way. We get major brutality from this and our dagger. So we're going to get major brutality either way. At least this way with the Bull Netch, though, it gives us some sort of resource management. So, you know, it gives us back stamina. Can be a free return on resources. Resolve and Vigor. Let loose a battle cry, installing yourself with Resolve, and healing for 17.7k health over 4 seconds. That's just there. Now, this is very easy. Well, 16.3 when you're unbuffed. Now, if you don't have Vigor, it's very easy to get it. They changed it up within the PvP skill lines to where you now get this at 1. I believe you unlock it at 1 now. And basically, you just got to go in and do the initial tutorial quests where they send you from place to place. You go, you repair some battle ornaments and stuff like that, and you'll unlock Vigor right off the bat. So, but if you don't even want to be bothered with doing that, you can go and just use something like Fungal Growth for a little heal. Or if you want a big AoE heal, you can go with something like Healing Seeds here and just kind of throw it down. Fungal Growth would probably be the one I would go with over that, but Vigor is definitely the better heal. So then Camo Hunter, just again, our back bar. And then again, Wild Guardian. So, but yeah, that's effectively the skills. Now, when it comes to DPSing in general, let me scroll up here. 33 is what I got with Backstabber. 32.6 is what I got with Fighting Finesse. So there wasn't a huge difference in the DPS this wise. I mean, really, there is not much at all. So yeah, as you can see, you can still hit pretty solid with this setup. Even without it. Using a monster set, replacing this with something else, and just using a different spammable. It's going to be very similar. So DPS wise, you can still hit pretty solid and get you through most of the content. So yeah, now when it comes to rotation wise, you're going to buff up. You're going to go ahead and pop your pot. Well, because I can show you what the stats look like beforehand. I popped the pot. Oh, maybe we're getting on my front bar. As you can see, our stam recovery is 1.9, and our weapon damage is 5k. So that's without the weapon buffs and stuff. All right. So I'll be on my front bar. Trap, shock, endless hell, light attack, poison injection. Light attack, growing swarm, light attack, dagger. At this point, it should be time to do the shock again. So after the dagger, you'll shock. And then you should be able to fire off a couple more daggers. Bar swap, and arrow barrage, poison injection, bar swap. Shock, swarm, dagger, dagger. And then just when you see trap base needing to be put down, you just re-put it down. And I will replay when my bear has his ultimate. Instead of doing one of these, I will just light attack bear to replace one around the shock. So it's really not that complicated. So in a retro sense. So trap, subterranean, bar swap, arrow barrage, poison injection, light attack, swarm, dagger, dagger. Oh, I guess subterranean didn't go off. Alright. So subterranean. When it gets to about 3, I'm wanting the back bar to just repeat the process. I know this is going relatively slow, but I'm just trying to show it in general. So I know dots are falling off. Just go finish this off. No, bear. But yeah, it's simple. The rotation isn't that complicated. It might take a little practice, but everything is within 10 seconds. Subterranean lasts for 9 seconds essentially, but you shouldn't have any issues at all. So, but yeah, without the bear. So you'd buff trap, sub, bar swap, arrow barrage, poison injection, light attack, swarm, light attack, dagger, shock, dagger, dagger, and then repeat. Use these when you need to on your back bar swap, and put that down when you need to. So, but yeah, with all that, with practice, I mean 33, 32, depending on if you're using backstab or fighting finesse. So just let me know what you think of the Warden. Let me know if you're having fun. Until next time, take care.